Residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats in the tank area.
Hello out there, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the 5 best black metal bands. And
Yes.
this is so fucking hard because there's so many that are so damned good.
And it's especially difficult without Reaper bringing up things that aren't actually black metal. Sorry. Anyway.
Ouch! 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 Ouch!
Kingdom it.
Merciful fate. Now, if he was here, he could defend himself. Well, I don't know if there's much of a defense in that.
No, not really.
All right. Well, yeah. So, as I was thinking about this during this week, like what I'm really excited about is I'm hoping that there's people who maybe aren't into black metal super, super heavily, but they're curious about it. And they're like, hey, man, if I'm going to listen to black metal, who should I check out?
Exactly.
So I've got one of these, actually, I would say 2 that might be a little bit more of a palate cleanse, although it's still black metal. And usually their early albums are super heavy. But, and then 3 of them are just straight up brutal black metal that I've chosen.
Okay.
There's all kinds, like, oh gosh, there are some that bring in more mathcore elements, really unconventional kind of song structuring. And I wanted to choose this one band that I'll talk about later, but I didn't, because when I look across all of their work, it's just not as consistent.
Okay.
Now, I think another thing we might want to bring up is how I don't support the fucking Nazi asked.
No, definitely not.
Bands. I don't support that fucking bullshit.
No.
The Satanism, whatever. I just
right.
I do that myself. I don't give a shit about it. I'm an atheist, so I don't really give 2 shits about it. It's all fun, and I like how it upsets far right wing Christians. That's
sure.
Like I love wearing this shirt around my Mayhem shirt.
Nice.
But yeah, if we talked to, there's another band that started out the gates with like 3 straight up excellent black metal albums in the 90s, and then they moved away from it and they got really progressive. So if you know about black metal, you'll probably know exactly who I'm talking about. But
sure.
this, like every week, I love this. It makes me really question and make some tough decisions, but I will definitely have some honorable mentions.
Definitely. But before we get too far into it, I'm going to run a quick word from our sponsor. Let's go with Villain Arts Tattoo. Check it out. right, we are back. That's Villain Arts Tattoo. I believe Reaper and Mischief will be at the one in Chicago coming up pretty soon. Looks like a hell of a good time. Make sure you go check it out.
Yeah, that stuff is fun. I used to go to Hell City when I was a tattoo apprentice. And the first time I went there, it was a lot of fun. They had all kinds of. It's not just tattoos; it's all kinds of stuff. A lot of fun.
For sure. All right, first one on my list. We actually briefly mentioned them before we went live. Is Marduk.
Love them. Tell me,
Absolutely.
Those Marduk.
Duck Duke. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say it.
I'm not sure either.
No. Hey, Kyler, what's up?
Kyler. All right.
All right, Kyler.
Kyler, tell us what your favorite black metal bands are. Is this something that you've really checked into before? Or is this kind of a new experience for you, buddy?
Yeah, that's a good question. Anyone else feel free to chime in, let us know, what bands you like. Tell us our opinions are shit. We'll tell you yours are shit back. But anyway.
All right. Gangis, tell us for you.
There's a few reasons I chose them. One of them was I've actually seen them live. So, I know they can put on a good show in addition to just having decent studio work. I saw them. Shit, was that 2014 maybe? Something like that. Anyway, their stage presence is just fucking crazy.
Did they have anything on the stage like candles and skulls, animal flesh?
Nothing too crazy.
Okay. No nude women.
No, I definitely would remember that. But they were also the last act of the night that went on right after my beloved moon spell, so I don't remember it super well because it was like midnight when they came on stage and I was like starting to fall asleep, but it was still a great fucking show.
Yeah. So what's your favorite album from their discography?
I like some of their older stuff, but their one from 2018, Victoria, is also really fucking good.
Yeah. That's one where it's had a little bit of controversy just because they're saying it might not be as straightforward black metal.
Right. It's not, but you can't. I mean, you can, but like I don't know. I feel like you need to change it up a little bit once in a while.
Yep, I have you'll see with me, I have no trouble with that. One of my big choices is one of the most controversial out of black metal. People love to hate this fucking band. I don't get why. They're fucking amazing to me. And they changed and it works really well and they're really original with what they do. So I can do shits.
I agree.
All right. So that was
all right. Kyler says, I'm kind of new, but I like Behemoth, Cannibal Corpse, and Cattle Decapitation. And he's been looking for more, hoping you might have some great ones. We definitely do, Kyler.
Yeah, well, Kyler, you will appreciate. Now, I know Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation, and I know Dave, the drummer, but I'm a lot closer with Josh Elmore of Cattle Decapitation, and he definitely throws all kinds of black metal licks in their music.
Oh, for sure.
I love it. He's such an intense and an excellent guitarist, but such a cool guy. But coming up, hopefully in just about a couple of weeks, he's still in Berlin, Germany right now, and he's been wanting to come on this show, but he's going to come on hopefully the end of February, so maybe in a couple of weeks, or he will be on in hopefully early March. But he'll be on. Yeah. He'll be on for sure. They're about to embark on a big tour. They just finished in the fall with opening for Amon Amarth.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to open for Dark Funeral. And I really like it that they're opening.
Nice.
And so I'm going to go catch them up in Charlotte because that's only a 2.5 hour drive for me.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, my number 5 is a band that to me, it's always absolutely legit black metal from beginning to end. I cannot find one album that's shit. You know, I would say a couple of them are maybe 3.5 out of 5 stars. There's maybe one or two is a 4 star, I would say.
Mhm.
But the one they put out last April is fucking stunning. It is, to me, perfect black metal. It's very complicated. At least it's what I really like in black metal.
Mhm.
The
I
vocal,
think I know who you're talking about.
yeah, the guitars are super raw, tremolo picking throughout.
Mhm.
It's not just one riff running through the whole fucking album and then with some breakdowns with some big slower power chords. They are complicated songs. Like, they inspire me when I think about writing my own music.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about Watain.
Mhm.
And this is the album that just came out in April. I've already talked about this on a previous thing. This album is a stunner. To me, this is 5 out of 5.
Agreed.
Are they being absolutely innovative with this album? No, but
No.
they throw every black metal element into it with perfection. It is brutal. It's fast. It's melodic.
Mhm.
It's satanic. It's fucking black. To me, this is a perfect example of brutal kind of black metal to me.
Agreed.
So I love that album. Back in, I think it was 2011 or 2012,
Mhm.
Darkness came out. This album is excellent. Many people put this in their top 5, like in Decibel and Terrorizer magazine. Excellent, excellent album. It differs from the previous one I just showed by this one's a little bit more melodic. Beautiful. Like, it has some dueling guitars in there,
Mhm.
and some aspects that might remind you a little bit of Metallica, like old Metallica, not shit
Yeah.
from 1990 on. And
Kyler, you're asking the band name. I'll pop it up because it's easier. That's the band name, Watain.
Watain, and they're out of Sweden.
Yep.
This is some Swedish black metal. They've been around since the 90s. They weren't there right in the early 90s, like 91, 92,
Mhm.
but they've been super consistent. And so, like, what I'm showing are my top 3 albums. Cassis Luciferi, this is the first one that got them, like, really
Mhm.
good recognition. This one is outstanding as well. But I showed them from one best to the one that yeah, I think is like the third best. So Watain, their stage shows, he has had, I think it's uh, some sort of a bacterial poisoning several times. They
Mhm.
actually uses pig's blood in their stage show, so he's covered with blood.
Mhm.
Shows he uses, goat skulls, and
There's
it,
even a show where they like cover the crowd in pig's blood and people start puking and fainting and shit.
yeah, good on you. Really good on you, Gangis. Yeah, so like really extreme shows. I missed them last year because our Department of Immigration or something, they wouldn't let them in the country.
I
They
think
were,
it just was it just the guitarist I wouldn't let in or
I don't know. I thought it was
something like that.
he was
Oh, that's
pissed.
possible.
But I was going to see him on the Mayhem tour last year. They were going to open up for Mayhem. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
But still got to see Midnight. Midnight played a longer set. They're good. They're like pretty heavy. Midnight.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's hilarious. Awesome. I love it when people give us anecdotal information.
Oh, for sure.
But anyways, I chose Watain because they never stumble. Every album is absolute black metal. It's brutal black metal. Their tremolo picking is complicated
Hmm.
stuff to play. Like, it's not something you can listen to and get bored with easily if you're really giving it a chance. Like,
Exactly.
always have something to find every on your next listen. Fucking love it, especially the new album. When you've been out for more than 20 something years and you put out an album like this, I was just like, holy shit, why weren't more people talking about this?
Exactly. Until I did the research for this episode, I didn't even realize I put something out last year. That's how under the radar it went.
Yeah, it's really good. That's my number 5.
All right. My number 4, I went Bathory.
Love it. I'm curious to see what albums you like the most because I know which one I do.
I actually it's one of the earlier ones, but I really liked Blood, Fire, Death from 1988.
That's really good. Yeah, the one that I think, God, I can't remember it right now, and I don't want to walk across the room to grab it. But one where it's got the little devil or the what's his name? It's got the Satan figure up
Baphomet?
like a big rock cliff. What's that?
You mean you talk about Baphomet?
Yeah, Baphomet. Baphomet is sitting up on this. It looks like kind of like a stage of fake rocks, and he's sitting up there, and it's got red. I think the logo is red. Can't remember the name of that fucking album, but that one is really good. Their vocals were always black metal, and they were one of the first to really do the tremolo picking. And the album has it. I think that album came out in 1985 as well.
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like that's a band. Like I hear these arguments about who were the first for black metal, and I won't hear people talk about Celtic Frost. Celtic Frost has elements, but they're definitely not black metal, but they definitely influenced. I mean,
definitely.
In the most recent Dark Throne, they're going back to Celtic Frost. But like even though Venom used the word black metal for one of their albums, they have a famous song called Black. They really don't. They sound like black and roll. Like they don't do any tremolo picking. They don't do what came out in the second wave of black metal, where they really defined a unique sound that sounds unlike anything else.
For sure. And when I was reading more about them, it said that they're actually pioneers of both black and Viking metal, which I can totally see that listening to them.
Yep. God, I forget what that album is. I think it's an album that came in '87 and more like Viking metal.
Yeah, which I definitely liked, and they had such an influence on so many different friggin' bands.
Oh yeah, all like Mayhem, Dark Throne, Satyricon. They all were huge fans of Bathory.
For sure.
And they're good albums. They're really good albums. They do have that 80s kind of primitive feel.
Yeah, they do. Especially on their first album, their self-titled one. That one, very 80s sounding in some ways, I thought.
Yeah, that's great. Great choice. Not going to argue. Fucking love them. Love Bathory. I just am an idiot because I can't remember the couple of albums that we discussed. I don't want to walk across the room and stumble in the dark.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So my number 4, I'm just following in your footsteps. So I've already kind of talked about it, but I'm going to show you a couple of the albums that I really like. So your number 5 was Marduk, and my number 4 is Marduk.
All right.
This album is black metal perfection. It is absolutely brutal. I'd say my 2 favorite songs off of this album are Baptism by Fire. It's so damn good, so aggressive. And I really like Fist Fucking God's Planet. Well, and what's the other one? Christ Raping Black Metal. They play that every show. So you may not have known the song Gangis when you saw them, but they definitely played Christ Raping Black Metal. And I can almost certainly and confidently say that you probably heard Baptism by Fire. So, damn, I want them to come back again because I need to see them. I've been overseas. A lot of times they couldn't get over here to America. And then I think the first time I saw them get into America was like 2008 or 2009. And then, of course, I have to do a little bit of censorship here for this album.
Yeah.
But you guys can get the picture of what's happening. To a certain orifice. And this album came out in 1992. And it is a pretty important one, and it's called F Me Jesus. So I'll edit it again.
Yeah.
F Me Jesus. This is super primitive. These guys again were Marduk was one of the first bands to do black metal. One of the first, and they were in Sweden, not in Norway.
Yeah.
So all right, we're pretty close. It was your number 5, my number 4.
My turn to follow in your footsteps. I had Watain as number 3.
Oh, that's great. Awesome.
I think we talked about them quite a bit, but I thought it was really cool that in 2021 they actually got to sign with Nuclear Blast Records. I thought that was kind of crazy. It's like, things that extreme don't usually get to big labels like that.
Yeah. Well, they'd been with Season of Mist, and Season of Mist did a lot of more kind of like atmospheric black metal.
Yeah.
That, and still like Season of Mist, but Nuclear Blast is going to support a band a little bit better.
For sure.
And maybe that's why this latest album is so kick-ass. Telling you guys, check out the latest Watain album that came out in April of 2022. So it's not even old. Stunningly good album. It's fucking heavy though. So
for sure.
That, but use your headphones so you can hear all of the intricate guitar work in there. All right. Well, we are zooming right along.
We are.
So already on my number 3. And we're going to go to an American black metal band. And we might say atmospheric black metal band.
Oh, I think you're talking about my number 2.
May very well not. I have seen these guys a couple of times. I was going to go see them again last year. And they were supposed to play, I think I was going to see them in Atlanta or Charlotte, and they were going to play like I think it was the very end of January, but COVID had kicked in again, and they were, restricting shows and stuff like that. And so they canceled, and they had Full of Hell opening up for them, which was really cool. But the band I'm talking about hails out of Olympia, Washington, in Washington State. Fucking amazing. They put candles all up on the stage. They play in mostly darkness. Times that I've seen them, they have not used a bass player. They've only used 2 guitars and then their drummer. Outstanding vocals, very atmospheric. And I'm talking about Wolves in the Throne Room.
Oh, we're not talking about the same band.
Nope.
Up to this point, I thought we could have been, but we're not. Okay.
Boy. Now, you might be talking about one out of Portland.
I'm talking about one out of Seattle, actually.
Out of Seattle. Let me think about the other. There's Uada. Yeah,
they're not originally from Seattle. They moved to Seattle, if that helps you.
I just may not be aware of that aspect.
Yeah.
So this is their logo. I dare you to try to read Wolves in the Throne Room in that.
Yeah, no.
Challenging to read. When I moved from Washington State out to South Carolina, I drove across the entire country with 2 cats in the passenger seat. And I had this my most beloved tank top. I got it at the first time when I saw Wolves in the Throne Room. It was a tank top. It had shiny silver screen print, and it was of a dark wood scene with the big Wolves in the Throne Room logo, like the one that I just shared here. And man, I fucking lost it. I know where I broke down, and I ended up having to pay $600 and I think $74 for a tow. I broke down in South Dakota.
No.
Got in at like midnight. I was so fucking tired because I had those cats the whole time, and I don't know. I must have been so tired and shit. I don't know where I lost it, but I think it was there. But anyways, this Wolves in the Throne Room is atmospheric black metal. Very much about the bleakness and the coldness of nature, how brutal nature can be. They a lot of times they won't use the real aggressive tremolo picking, but they'll use really quickly strummed chords and have a classic black metal sound, especially atmospheric black metal sound. And so the album that I think is the best is Celestial Lineage.
Okay.
And this album came out in like 2012. Stunningly beautiful album. It's pretty dark, but man, is it beautiful. I can listen to this at any time. So fucking damn good. Celestial Lineage is the name of this album. And then the other one that I chose is their most recent one. And I think it's called Primordial Arcana. Primordial Arcana, almost positive.
Ooh, I really like that album cover.
Yeah, really cool album cover. It's just a still life with skulls and birds and the blade and the candles and kind of what you get when you see them live. They set up their stage kind of like this. It's pretty dark, candles everywhere. Outstanding. They don't play a whole lot of shows, but if you ever get a chance to see Wolves in the Throne Room, I'd listen to these albums. I think you'd love them. These are my two favorite. Well, God, there's another one, the one that came out right before this. I think it's the Diadem of 12 Stars. It's really, really good as well. It's maybe a little bit heavier than this. This is more atmospheric, accessible. I just love it. I think this is a genius album. So, Wolves in the Throne Room.
All right. Before we get into my number 2, how about we run a commercial since we're flying through this shit?
Right on.
All right. Let's see, what's this? Sounds like something I might like if I want something a little bit softer.
Yeah, you will.
Yep. Let's check out. Let's go with this. Reaper's new band just dropped their first lyric video on yesterday, and definitely check it out. But here's a little teaser for it.
Cool.
That is Ariman by Iron Serpent. Make sure you go check that shit out. It kicks some ass.
Right on.
All right. My number 2, originally from Colombia, but moved to Seattle shortly after their inception, Inquisition.
Oh, yeah. Really good. Yeah, they're really good.
And definitely one of the earlier bands. They originally formed in 1988.
Yeah.
But I saw them live, and I thought it was kind of different. It was almost like hypnotic. This is when right around the time that they're I had to write this down because it's a crazy title. Ominous Doctrines of the Perpetual Mystical Macrocosm album came out, which is very much just like the vocals just very steady almost, and just like trance-like. And I just fucking love that album. Thought they put on a great show, and I like all the other stuff I've listened to too, but I love that out. I love that era of that band.
Yeah, a lot of kind of black metal experts will echo what you're saying. Like they'll say Inquisition is pretty badass as well.
For sure.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, really another really good black metal. There's so many. This was so difficult to choose from. Like I actually can't wait to get through to my honorable mentions because I feel really badly that I didn't.
For sure.
I only got to choose 5. So I tried to be a little bit diverse, although the first 2 out of the gates, Watain and Marduk, are just pretty much brutal black metal, heavy tremolo picking, really fast blast beats throughout. And then kind of the palate cleanse would be Wolves in the Throne Room. And so my number 2, and this was really hard, and I think this is probably your number 1. Hard for me to put these guys at number 2. This was a pretty tough decision. but I chose Gorgoroth.
Yep, you're right.
And this is probably my favorite album of theirs.
Mhm.
More traditional, kind of black metal. And again, like I like, so at night before I go to bed, I have to partake of something so that I can fall asleep.
Mhm.
Makes me fall asleep. It has a little bit to do with water, a little bit to do with smoke, and a little bit to do with the devil's lettuce. And a lot of times I will just drone out in front of my stereo system and just bang my head. And so, like, that's what I do every week, every night before.
Yep.
That's when I end the night and I listen to these bands. And Gorgoroth is a great one for this.
Absolutely.
When you turn it up loud and it's right in front of your face, you get to hear everything that they wanted you to hear. It's not like when I drive in the car, there's road noise and I can't hear what they wanted you to hear as well. Or if I have headphones on, I can hear it really well as well. But I freaking love Instinctus Bestialis. This album, outstanding. Their first two albums are a lot more primitive. The vocals are more primitive. They did
Definitely.
vocalists at a point for this album. Did I turn it around correctly? No. Yeah. So I love this album. This is their more commercially
Mhm.
accessible album. I love it. It's really good tremolo picking. I think it came out in like 2008, almost positive. And I have a different vocalist for this album, but this one is really, really good too. It's the best produced out of their albums, I would argue. And shite, I can't remember the name of it because it's a really long name. It's like 5 long.
Oh, oh, the one from 2009.
Yeah.
Quantos Ponsunt ad Setinatatum Trunt.
Yeah, that's it.
That.
Yeah, I don't have my glasses on and I don't have that one memorized, just the name of the album. I
Yeah.
listen to so much music. It's hard for me to remember song titles a lot of the time.
For sure.
Baptism by Fire. I can always remember that one because that song stuck with me.
We have a question from Kyler. Are there any bands with softer, calm-like vocals? You can find a little bit of that, like some of the atmospheric type black metal.
They will come up, Kyler, for sure. Stay tuned to the honorable mentions and
Yes.
my number one.
All right. Well, as we just said, Gorgoroth is my number one, but I have a little bit more to add to that.
Great.
They were actually the first black metal band I actually heard. So that's part of why I had to put them at number one, because I just randomly, I don't even know how I found them, but I just started watching like some live footage and I'm like, holy shit. I mean, the fucking, they got sheep heads and blood everywhere and crucifixions going on and all sorts of shit.
These two.
Friggin' crazy. I mean, to the point where they're actually arrested in Poland for being, too satanic. I thought it was crazy. And I just think it's kind of badass that, they named their band after Lord of the Rings location.
Yeah.
Because I fucking love Lord of the Rings, but I thought that was just too fucking cool. You wouldn't expect, something from like a fantasy movie and, to influence the name of like this crazy black metal band.
Yeah. That's really cool. You brought up a great point. Yeah, they're just like really straightforward, really well done. Like, why did I choose them over Watain? I don't know. Like, they're both so good, but they definitely are different. But I don't know. I just like Gorgoroth better. But I love Watain as well. Like,
for sure.
To put like 15 black metal bands that I really love, and then there's like 15 that I'm like, yeah, I dig them. They're pretty good.
For sure.
15 that I just love. Yep. And a lot of people won't choose Gorgoroth in their top three, and they'll usually cite their reasons are, well, they changed vocalists, or I didn't like their vocal.
Woohoo. I mean, I could maybe see, like, claiming that they're too edgy. I could maybe see people making that argument, but, like, too fucking bad. They kick ass.
Yeah. They're just outstanding.
It is a little bit weird that anytime any website tries to publish their lyrics, they send them a cease and desist and like, fuck off. It's a little bit weird, but whatever, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Where the hell did I do with my number one? There it is. All right. Great choice. That was my number two. Wow, we were really in line here.
For sure.
Yeah, like, I mean, there were so many bands. Like, there's so many other good bands that we didn't list in our top five that we.
Yeah, for sure.
We were right in line for a lot of these. All right, Kyler, this one is for you, and I'm gonna start off not with my favorite of their albums, but I'm gonna start off with I would say this is the third album where people said they had totally sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And
not to interrupt you real quick, but I have something for you too, Kyler. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, every night for Kyler. Kyler, we reward you.
Mm.
I mean, we at least deserve, or Gangis at least deserves some sort of thank you for that. So anyways, I've got 5 of their albums out, actually 4, and they just reissued one 2 years ago. It was like, I think of 2021, they reissued their first 2 albums. These guys were right there with Mayhem and Darkthrone and Immortal. They all hung out together in Norway. And this is a band that so many black metal people just fucking hate them. They say sold out. They say Satter, the lead singer and guitarist, they say that he also often does the bass lines as well, and he's the vocalist. They'll often say that he's arrogant and all that. I could give a fuck.
Yeah.
The albums are fucking awesome. They changed their style after their first albums. After the juicy nipple. After their first 3 albums, they kind of changed their style, and they put out this, it's kind of like a new metal album cover, but the album is still pretty damn good. But because they did that, and they used like different fonts and stuff and some graphic design techniques that were done by a lot of new metal bands, people started to hate them for that. I've seen some write-ups about this band where people just trash them.
Really?
But give them a chance and go listen to them. They kind of invented their own kind of style of black metal. And it's called, a lot of people call it black and roll. What black and roll to me is black metal that's slowed down quite a bit, and the vocals aren't quite as harsh or quite punishing or intense. And I'm talking about Satyricon. Fuck you.
Great choice.
All of you haters who don't like Satyricon. These are great albums. Their first 3 albums that they did in the early to middle 90s are fucking stunners. Amazing. Satter and Frost are one of the best pairings in black metal. Frost is the drummer. Amazing dude. Like, he's my favorite drummer to watch. He just headbangs the whole time. The dude has like 2% body fat and just fucking kicks ass. He's also the drummer for 1349, which is another good black metal act that you guys might want to check out. But this is my favorite album after their first 3 albums. And they had one out right before this that is called King. It's really good as well. I like this one better. This is called Black Crow. No, it's called The Age of Nero. Sorry, The Age of Nero. The song that I like probably the best is Black Crow on a Tombstone.
I just love that song title. I don't
Yeah.
know if I've heard it, but I love that title so much I need to go check it out.
I bought this very CD in the United Arab Emirates. It was at a record store there. Had they known anything about Satyricon, they would not have wanted to have sold that in such an extreme Muslim country. There, and UAE isn't near as extreme as Saudi Arabia or Kuwait
Right.
or even Bahrain or even Qatar. But this album, The Age of Nero, is fucking awesome. It's slowed down. Kyler, this is the first album I would go listen to. Is this one here? There's a kind of an eagle on the front. It's not even a crow, but it's The Age of Nero. Stunningly good album, very well produced. It's just not as fast. It has tremolo picking, and all of the black metal aspects are there. It's just slowed down quite a bit.
Nice.
Excellent. My favorite album of theirs is Nemesis Divini. This album, and this is probably my favorite black metal album of all time.
All right.
I think it came out in 1996 or 1997. Like prime example of what black metal is. Beautiful, melodic at times, heavy tremolo picking, blast beats throughout. It is so damned good. Nemesis Divini. And then I'm going to show you their first album. They changed the album cover when they re-released it, I guess, to try to trick some people into buying the album again, like I did. No, I wanted it because they remastered it. But
Gotcha.
this is their first album. It's like a road and a path going up into a big castle, and kind of a little bit like the Burzum covers for his albums. But this one is Dark Medieval Times. Outstanding. This is from, I think, 1992 is when it came out. Really good. They were right there, cutting themselves, spitting fire, and doing all kinds of weird things with Mayhem, Dark Throne, and Immortal.
So you said that they remastered that one?
Yeah, they remastered, and here's what it looks like now. It's got like an owl flying.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, it's still.
Yeah, I'm one of those people I love, just sitting in a dark room with a couple of candles, and I'll listen to an album like full blast, and then I listen to the remastered version and look for like differences and stuff. I love doing shit like that. So that might have to be one I do that with.
Yeah, the backs of the albums are still pretty much or fairly similar. It's just this was the first one, and then this is the remaster. But they still have that kind of framing with the trident type things, those fork type things, and it's just Satyr and Frost. Then they always have somebody else come in and play. They put out an album, I think it was in 2013 or 2004, where they played with the Norwegian Symphony Orchestra, and it's a really good album. It's outstanding. Love it. So that's Dark Medieval Times, their first album, outstanding. And then this one is also excellent, The Shadow Throne. This is the remastered version. I didn't want to bring like 15 CDs over here. This is their second album. Really, really good. They matured a lot in their sound from the first to the second album. The production is a bit better, and the tremolo picking and the defined black metal sound and kind of flavor is there. Like, I challenge any of these clowns that say Satyricon sucks to, listen to these albums, these three albums, and say that these suck.
Yeah.
Everything after that is a little bit more kind of black and rollish, but they're really good albums. They're more accessible for everybody else, but definitely black metal through and through. Satyr's songwriting, he's super clever. Like, these songs stick in your head and they stay with you.
Hell yeah. Excuse me.
Well, that was my number one, Satyricon.
All right.
I hope people, I'd love to talk with people about why they think they suck ass, because they fucking don't. Those albums are good. They just may not like black and roll. Okay, it's fine if you don't like black and but don't say they suck, because the songs are. They haven't put out a bad album to me, not ever.
Agreed. All right, before we talk about our honorable mentions, let's take a quick moment to check out stuff from our brothers across the pond, Poison Valley Clothing. Check them out. That is Poison Valley. They have wonderful products. They have some new designs, including ones for Iron Serpent that I haven't added to the commercial yet because Gangis sucks. But yeah, check them out.
I feel so honored. Like the vocals on that song that goes with that little commercial is yours truly. That's
Yes,
me,
it is.
Beast.
Yes, it is. Once you put out some more new stuff, I might have to upgrade what song I'm using.
Oh, it's coming. It is.
I can't fucking wait.
I'm writing a new song this week. I'm about 3/4 of, maybe a little bit more than 3/4 of done with just getting the ideas laid out before I go through the recording process.
Sweet.
All right, let's hear
Right.
a couple of honorable mentions.
All right, honorable mentions.
Time for a whiskey for me, by the way.
What's that?
Whiskey.
Gotcha. All right. My first one, they're not straight black metal. They're like a mixture of black metal fused with like some Viking folk metal. But I fucking had to bring them up because I think they're fantastic. And the band name is Main Garm.
Oh,
And they're from Sweden.
I don't know. How do you spell that?
Manegarm.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, I really like them. I also recently found. Oh, go ahead.
Tell me a little bit more about them.
I just found them recently when they dropped a new single a couple of months ago, so I haven't extensively listened to them, but I absolutely love their song Angara and shit. What the fuck is the name of that song? But I guess they've been around since 1995. And
Long time.
yeah. What's that?
Yeah, that's a long time.
That was the name of the song. And Snara of Gold. It's like
Okay.
all in Swedish shit for the most part. But I just love how they sound. They've got a really unique, like I said, it's like a fusion between folk metal and black metal. The next one I've got, or did you want to go back and forth, or should I just go through my list, or what do you want to do?
Well, let's go back and forth. That's kind of fun.
All right, you're up.
I'm going to talk about, and it's a band I finally get to see. I think it's May 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia this year. Enslaved.
Nice.
I didn't bring all the CDs over because they would fall over because I have so many, but like a notable album from Enslaved is Frost. It's a light blue album with like a landscape in the back and then their logo right up the middle, and it says Frost underneath it. Outstanding band, but they really changed. They also were right there in Norway with a lot of the other bands. They all kind of hung out together. They all knew each other, music, shared ideas and stuff like that. But Enslaved went really proggy, very proggy, to where they have black metal vocals now, and the tone is often black metal, but they sound like prog with a black metal flavor. They don't really sound like black metal so much. They really sound like their own thing. Nobody else sounds like Enslaved. From about, I think it was 2003 or 2004 on, they sound like a totally different band. They really don't sound black metal anymore. But I love Enslaved as well, because I don't like just one thing. I like all kinds of black metal. There are things but I just choose not to listen to it.
Yeah.
And the album that I've brought up on a previous episode is Ethica Odini. That it was 2011. That's my favorite album of theirs. Frost would probably be number 2.
Okay. All right. My next one is a German ambient black metal group called Fall. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Fallness.
Mm-hmm.
I really friggin' like them, especially they have this EP that came out in 2005 called Letharg that I absolutely freaking love. It's like creepy and it like goes like into this like black metal sort of dirge, and then we end up with like some crazy like screaming and some spoken word going on. It's just very interesting. I really like it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I like it when they vary. I like having spoken word in songs as well. It's just something different to think about. It can set a different kind of feel or atmosphere to a song.
Definitely.
Yeah, Germany's got a bunch of good bands. Like there's another one, Imperium Decadence.
Mm-hmm.
They have, I think, 5 albums out. I have 3 of them, and they have a new one that I have in my shopping cart that just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's got rave reviews. It's supposed to be the best that they put out yet.
Nice.
Decadence is real. They're atmospheric. So this would be kind of in the same vein as Agalok and Wolves in the Throne Room, but that would be a good one for people to check out as well.
For sure.
Imperium Decadence.
All right. All right. I've also got just because I felt like we can't talk about black metal without mentioning this band, I had to put Abath on my list.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the first bands anyone thinks of if you mention black metal, so they had to go on here.
Yep. Well, why don't we'll both discuss, because Immortal was my next one. So
okay.
Abath was the bassist and then guitarist in later years for Immortal. And so yet again, listen to the first 3 albums.
Definitely.
Immortal, super heavy, absolute early black metal from the early 90s. And then they put out a couple more albums toward the late 90s, fucking outstanding. Their discography, to me, they've never put out a bad album. To me, Abath did put out a bad album last year.
I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, I got it, and it's a Dread Reaver, something like that. I bought it. I've listened to it 2 times. I can't listen to it again.
Oh, that's bad.
It is awful. There's only one song that I would give a 2 out of 5. Everything else is a 1 out of 5.
Oh, that's bad.
And Abath had to stop his tour, I think it was in 2019, right before COVID, because of alcohol issues. He was like too drunk and couldn't go on, and pretty difficult in interviews as well. He can be a real jerk. A lot of them can. The guys from Mayhem can be asshats in interviews as well. No, but when Abath came out with his first solo album, that's a great album. That one is another one that's like Tyler. You probably would like that one. It's a little bit more easily palatable. It's really good. The second one is pretty good. A different production approach to it. It has more of a live feel to it. Yeah, both of those are good. But Immortal, oh my gosh. Like every fucking album is amazing that they put out. The only reason why I didn't put them in the top 5 is I'm not a huge fan. Now, I liked Abath's vocals in the first album.
Yep.
And then after that, he became the Frog Lord. And I didn't like his vocals quite as much as the Frog Lord. And now he's total froggy. it's really easy to do that. Like you can go show and show out because you're not belting or screaming everything out.
Right.
It's all like this.
Sounds like a goblin or something.
Yeah, goblin, absolutely. Yep, the frog goblin. It kind of looks like, and he does kind of a crab kind of frog
Yeah.
on stage a lot of the time.
That's all I had on my list.
All right. Well, I have a whole bunch of others, but I think I'm just going to bring up two others that you got to listen. One is Death Spell Omega. Death Spell are rumored to be fucking like neo-Nazis. So I don't like them for that at all. But they're also very mysterious. Nobody knows exactly who the vocalist is. They're kind of like Ghost, kind of a, who's behind the curtains,
right?
Kind of band. But they put out an album. I think it was that might have been 2010 or 2011. Paracletus. I should have brought it over. Outstanding. And this is one where they're from France. And it's super unconventional black metal.
Okay.
Like different time signatures going on. It's black metal, but it doesn't sound like traditional black metal with tremolo picking in the same way. It is really weird and unconventional.
Okay.
People who know black metal, they will always bring up Death Spell Omega and Paracletus. Outstanding album. Their other albums are good. I would say 3 to 3.5 out of 5 stars. Paracletus is a 4.5 to maybe 5 out of 5 stars.
All right, cool.
Outstanding. And the last one I want to bring up, and then I want to talk a little bit about why we didn't use Dark Throne or Mayhem, two of the biggest bands. I will address that. But I want to bring up Agalloch.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to have seen Agalloch. I actually took my daughter. She was she had just finished first grade. And I drug her to the bar. And she sat on the bar, and I stood right beside her the whole time. I had to buy her a Monster High doll, so she, sat there with that. And I put earplugs in her. She couldn't give a shit about Agalloch playing, but they were great. So Agalloch, Kyler, you would probably definitely like them. A lot of acoustic guitar, beautiful atmospheric black metal out of Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Really beautiful. The album, I should have pulled them over. There's so many that are really good, but my favorite, and most black metal aficionados love The Mantle. And I think another really good one is Ashes Against the Grain, I think it's called. Another really, really good album. Excellent album to drive to like go on a road trip, especially if you're driving at night. Throw in Agalloch. And if you're going to sleep at night, throw in some Agalloch. Really good. They let their songs breathe a lot. So there's a lot of instrumental sections in their songs. It's not all black metal vocals all of the time.
Okay, cool.
Agalloch, outstanding. It was kind of like I was either going to put them in or Wolves in the Throne Room. And so I listened to them. I'm just like, you know what? I just like Wolves in the Throne Room a little better.
Yeah.
The Wolves in the Throne Room doesn't do the acoustic guitar like Agalloch does. So Agalloch is different, but they're kind of similar in that they're both atmospheric black metal.
Okay, cool.
So I do want to kind of address, like, why didn't I choose Dissection? Dissection put out 3 albums. It's not enough work to make my top 5.
Yeah.
Excellent fucking albums, though. Outstanding albums. They also are kind of rumored to be kind of neo-Nazi racist as well. Dissection is. I mean, even some of the other bands that I've chosen are very controversial. They use imagery that is very controversial.
Yeah.
So I didn't choose Mayhem or Dark Throne. And Mayhem, I will say, like, I love the album Chimera. I love the most recent album, Damon, I think in 2018 or 2019. Both of those are outstanding albums. I mean, there's a bunch of them that I do like. don't know. I just don't feel like they hit as hard. Now,
Yeah,
their first album, it didn't get put out. Although they wrote it and they had been working on the songs in 1988, it wasn't, I think, until 1994 when they, because of the death of a couple of band members, before they finally got to release the album. But like Freezing Moon is on that album, and you gotta hear that. It's outstanding. But I just didn't feel like they were always, knocking out home runs like Marduk's Panzer Division album. Although I love Chimera and I love Damon,
yeah,
it just doesn't hold a candle to that or the new Watain album.
for sure.
The newer Mayhem or even some of those other Mayhem albums, in my opinion, just aren't quite as good. Dark Throne, they came out the gates pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
I think their third album, I think it was on their fourth or fifth album, they started doing kind of crust punk and more doom, and they have like black metal vocals, but that's about it. Like Gone is the tremolo picking and the beats, but I like it. It's something new, just like Satyricon. Satyricon slowed things down and they became something else. Fucking love it. I don't hate them because they stepped away from blast beats and really fast tremolo picking. It's okay with me.
Right.
It's fucking good. Listen to Dark Throne's album that just came out last year. I think it was early October.
Mm-hmm.
Stunningly good album. And they pay tribute to Celtic Frost throughout that. But I just don't feel like they carry the flag for black metal like a bunch of the other bands that I chose. Like I didn't choose Enslave in my top 5 because they really went proggy, too proggy to me.
Agreed.
But
yeah.
Anything else, Gangis?
No, I think we covered it pretty good.
Yeah. So like if you're on YouTube and you've just watched this on YouTube, throw us your comments. What are your top 5?
Exactly.
You think I'm a fucking idiot? I mean, I did at least try to articulate why I chose the bands that I chose. I could name off, all kinds of other bands. Emperor, yep. Oh yeah, I do need to address Emperor as well.
Okay.
Before we go. I am not the biggest fan of their really famous album about the Welkin. I forget what that thing is. I've only listened to it probably like 6 times in my life because the production sucks balls to me.
Yeah.
Now, if you really, really listen to it, it is a fucking masterpiece. But the production is so bad that I don't want to listen so hard to hear the instruments. It's so kind of boxy and messy sounding.
Gross.
It's a really good album. I would rather listen to an Isan, one of his more recent albums, which are kind of proggy and avant-garde weird, but I like those a lot. But that's why I didn't put Emperor. And Emperor only, I think, put out like 3 albums and then they disappeared.
Yeah.
Done now. They'll play a show every now and then at a big festival. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Emperor. I know they wrote fucking nasty, nasty riffs with nasty tremolo picking, orchestral, but it just the production sucks too bad for me. I can't get into it. It's my personal choice. Some people love that. So many black metal enthusiasts will say that that's the best black metal album ever, and more power to them. It just sounds too muddied to me.
All right. Well, that's what we think about black metal. Definitely let us know what you think. And I think we'll do something very interesting next time. I think Hoofed Beast said you'll have to do a lot of homework for.
Oh, I will have to do a whole lot of homework. My work is cut out for me. I probably need to start tonight.
And I could do it in my sleep. Just a little hint for y'all, but we're not going to say what we're doing. All right. Make sure you tune in for whatever program we have on next time. I don't fucking know.
Well, you could announce it if you want. I don't think that hurts. Give people a kind of an idea for what's coming up next week. We've all agreed on it. I'll give you somebody isn't going to miss that fucking show.
For sure.
Who is-
Absolutely. We are talking about Rammstein.
Rom.
So make sure you tune in for that one. It's gonna be badass. And I feel like Reaper and I might butt heads a little bit over which albums are better.
Well, for me, it's gonna be like my first listening to it, because I have not listened to Rammstein very much. So this is going to be kind of like a reaction video to it. So I'm going to listen
Sure.
as best as I can this week, and then I will write notes for every album, and then I'll give my top 5 from Rammstein.
Hell yeah, Kyler.
Well,
All right.
Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Babylon Sun, I am so sorry that I missed that show. I had 2 kind of emergency types of things come up on that night. I was going to be there. I did watch the first half of it. I still have to finish and watch the second half of your episode. But it was a really good one. Learned a lot of things too. That you almost gave up music. That was a big surprise to me.
It was.
As always, we'll see you guys next week at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And as always, stay
heavy.
Rotting in this wasteland, left us unbleached.